Hey, everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. On my right, we have Matt Clark. He's actually a very good friend of mine, and he's also a good friend of Jake Kent, who's also a good friend of ours. And he's the founder of the Virtual Edge. Now, he does a lot of things that we're kind of going through ourselves. We're going to dive into his story. We're going to dive into his new TV show. We're going to dive into his business. So I appreciate you being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
So, first things first is I know you have a TV show coming up, and you said it's launching next Wednesday, which is pretty soon. Right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a little bit nervous, I won't lie.
Yeah?
Yeah, I never hosted my own TV show before. I've been on TV shows, been interviewed many times, so roles are going to be reversed. And you know what? I'm just going to give it my all, bring all my energy, and hopefully everyone loves it.
Well, how did that come into play?
So it was an interesting story. I got connected with one of our clients, and then she shared with me that she's doing this thing and she's doing a TV show.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's interesting. Tell me more. Because she dives deep into media and PR and everything as well. So she develops books and then promotes them through media and PR.
Yeah.
Told me about the TV show, and I said, that's interesting. And she said, you know what? You should have a TV show. And I was like, all right, well, what does that do? And she told me all the benefits. And I was like, all right, let me talk to the person. So we spoke to the executive producer. She met me. She was like, yep, you need a TV show. So
Yeah.
I signed up, and here we go.
Well, you have the look, you have the voice, and you have the enthusiasm, so I think you're going to crush it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm just going to have fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's good. So tell us a little bit about the Virtual Edge. We're kind of going through that right now, right? The Rainmaker system.
Yes.
Which is super beneficial. So, take it from me. But who's like your ideal client that kind of goes through the Virtual Edge?
So we work with business coaches and consultants and service-based businesses that specifically have high-ticket offers. So at least $5,000 and above.
Yeah.
That's our ideal client, and people that have got a big vision, they want to make an impact, and they're looking to grow, like really looking to grow. Not just looking to add, a couple of extra grand a month, but
Right.
really looking to take things to the next level.
Yeah. And I'm assuming like for how it is now, like you've done a lot of trial and error, which is kind of like why you've seen a lot of the success that you've seen with like LinkedIn and B2B. How long did it kind of take you to kind of get from, starting to like now?
So it's interesting. We actually didn't even start out doing this.
Yeah.
We started out doing something completely different, as most entrepreneurs do.
Yep.
And so we started off being Infusionsoft certified partners, building out campaigns for people, and it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like we looked, next thing we looked, and we're charging hourly, working like 14, 16-hour days. And I just sat there and I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
What am I doing with my time? And so we went to an event, and at this event, I did a post on a group of a whole bunch of our ideal clients. And I said to them, hey guys, I'm going to do some free training. What do you want to learn the most? How to get clients from LinkedIn, how to get clients from Facebook, or how to automate your business with systems.
Yeah.
We had like 230 comments. And the number one comment that came up was, we want to learn how to get clients on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I better go build the course.
Yeah.
Because we picked up, a whole bunch of clients who made, I don't know, like $75,000 off one post.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, well, I better go build it now.
Yeah.
So we started building it, and it just grew from there. So step by step, we just started implementing, and, a lot of trial and error, as you said. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. They change algorithms, things fall apart. You've got to find a different route. And we've really got it dialed in now.
And how long ago was that when you made that first Facebook post?
That was probably about 5 years ago, 2018, actually, was when it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And now you've dialed it in a lot actually, right? Because we're even learning stuff like to utilize AI within the LinkedIn process and all of that. And aside from LinkedIn, are there any other things that you're like incredibly passionate about? Which I'm assuming is like you're including like this AI stuff to make things more efficient.
Exactly.
But aside from that, is there anything that you also truly love, like within the business realm that you're working on?
And it's actually the whole business model. I think for me, one of my biggest passions is travel.
Yeah.
And, as Dr. Chow was saying on the call before, it's freedom.
Yeah.
So we wanted to build this thing in a way that gave us total freedom. And my wife and I have been traveling. We sold all of our stuff at the beginning of last year. We've been traveling for 19 months now. We've been to 20 countries.
Yeah.
And we've truly been living that lifestyle. But I believe there's a fundamental mistake that most service-based business owners make, is they've got a certain skill, and then they go out and they sell that skill, and then they sell it for time.
Right.
So they actually land up never getting out of that self-employed space.
Yeah.
So a mentor of mine said to me one day, which completely reframed my entire way of thinking about business, about life, about where we're going, was that he said to me, most people are so attached to their businesses. It's their baby,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He said to me, what I do, I look at business a lot very differently. I mean, he started over 40 companies, taken 10 of
Wow.
them to 8 figures. So, someone you kind of listen to when they talk.
Yeah.
And he said, what I do is I build the lifestyle that I want. How much money do I need to personally make out of my lifestyle to be able to invest the way that I want to invest, to travel, to live the lifestyle that I want? And then businesses are boxes, right? Investments are boxes. So paper investments, stocks, bonds, commercial and real estate,
Yeah.
and then businesses. And he's like, you just stack the boxes. So instead of getting too hung up about a business, rather start stacking the boxes. So we reworked that and we thought, all right, well, how do we help these business coaches and consultants to take a step back and build their business around their life
Yeah.
versus their life around their business?
Yeah.
So I really love helping them structure that because everyone's got a slightly different approach that they want to take and skills that they've got. So how do you structure that and then build it so that it gives you freedom and the lifestyle that you're ultimately looking for?
Yeah. No, I think that's super powerful because many people, like you said, they're just running like a job.
Yeah.
And one thing that we're learning is, at least from you guys, is that the time that you're spending, the hour that you're spending every single week doing the webinar, which is one of many, is you're getting paid more for your hour of time doing that. And you're still, like you said, you're traveling, you're building a life that doesn't revolve necessarily around you being in it all of the time.
Exactly.
And for many people, they do a lot of things that take up a lot of time and doesn't necessarily get the same result. Where if you take the same hour, you just make a lot more for that time.
100%. Like I only want to spend time with people that are ready, willing, and able to take the next step with me.
Yeah.
And in order to get them there, I've got to walk them down a journey to believe that they can do it, to believe that I'm the one that can take them there,
Yep.
and to believe that our product is the product that they are looking to use.
Right. Right.
So the webinar is not just a sales webinar. It's about breaking limiting beliefs, installing new ones, overcoming objections, so that when they get to the point, they're ready to make a decision to move forward.
Yeah. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most people, when they're doing webinars, they don't do that. They just do a lot of, education,
Too much.
which is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not establishing any buying beliefs. You're not,
Exactly.
eliminating any objections. You're just teaching a lot, which can be, a bad thing, right? And you tested a ton of these before. So what have you found that works the best?
So first thing that doesn't work well is exactly what you said, is you land up teaching too much.
Yeah.
And if you land up teaching too much, then people feel like, well, I've got all the value. I can just go implement this myself.
Yeah.
So what we found is to actually create what we call a signature solution, which is a 3-stage, 9-step process that gets the client from a very specific start point to a very specific end point, right? And it's measurable, right? It's tangible, something they can grab onto. And when you can take people through that journey, they can see you've got a proven system, that you're an expert as well. But also when you bring it down to the webinar of what works, it's show the whole, teach the part, guide them to the next step.
Right. Right. And I don't think people guide them to the next step.
No.
They show the whole, they teach them, and that's it. And then it's like, thank you for your time.
Yeah. You got to show the what, not the how. They've got to pay for the how.
Right. No, 100%. And, for people that are clients of yours, like I'm assuming like one of the big issues that they end up finding is they've tried something like LinkedIn before and it just hasn't worked, right? Or they'll hire other agencies that say, hey, we can do the LinkedIn stuff for you. But again, it doesn't work. Why do you think that is?
A couple of reasons. The main reason is that they haven't done their market research properly, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't do your market research, you don't understand your customer on a deep level. If you don't understand your customer on a deep level, you can't create a message that's going to move them from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Right? Which then means if you can't do that, you can't create an offer that's going to make it an easy sale for you when you get to that. You can't create the webinars.
Yep.
So most people, their positioning is really weak.
Yeah.
Right? And it's too general and too flowery. I'm like, if we're getting on LinkedIn, people are there to do business.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's cut to the chase and get it dialed in. That's why I love LinkedIn so much. So it's how you position yourself right in the beginning, do the market research, and that's going to guide the rest of the journey.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that people might feel, because I've had this before as well, is like people feel like their offer is good, right? But they're selling off of benefits, or they're selling off of they're not communicating that correctly in the marketing and in the messaging, which is why it's not converting.
Yes.
Right. Because they think it's great. And obviously because they're in their space, they're in their little bubble and, they only know what they know.
Yep.
So how do you get somebody to kind of like move past that where, yeah, it is great, but like your customer doesn't necessarily know that?
So it's interesting. People come to us with a lot of different offers.
Yeah.
And sometimes they've just put something together, slapped a price on it and said, all right, well, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Look at what everybody else is doing and hopefully my offer is going to fit somewhere in between there.
Right.
But the thing is, there's no such thing as second cheapest or second most expensive, right? Because you're not going to stand out from the crowd. And the reason that people don't stand out from the crowd is because they don't make a very clear promise and do everything that they can to deliver that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what's going to make you stand out from the crowd. So when it comes to the offer, to clearly communicate the value, we need to know where we're taking them, what does the journey look like, and how do we track and measure that along the way?
Right.
Because if you can do that, then you're going to create beautiful case studies. The more case studies you have, the more people are going to want to work with you. If you can continue wrapping off these case studies piece by piece by piece, it just becomes a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think the other part of what I like is you're very organized and systemized.
Yes.
So when customers do this and when they start doing it for themselves, it's not like labor intensive where like they have to, continuously do it themselves. It's like you're always creating stuff for efficiency.
Yeah.
Which goes back to that time freedom. Right?
100%. And look, I mean, when we first started, like everything was manual and we had to create templates and frameworks and scripts. And with AI coming into play now, we've been able to take those templates, frameworks, and scripts and plug them into a system where now we can ask people a couple of questions. So it's taking our thought processes, plugging it into there, and now asking people a couple of questions, and it can literally spit the whole thing out. So what used to take 3 to 4 months now takes 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, which is insane to kind of think about.
It's insane.
Yeah. And, when you're kind of doing this for clients, like how do you, because you're always kind of like improving upon the offer, right?
Yes.
And that naturally just helps clients get to their goal a lot quicker. I'm assuming it's because you're doing it for your own business and you're like, okay, we're utilizing this, so this is working. You're always kind of giving your clients the latest stuff that's essentially working, right?
Totally.
How long have you been doing that?
So what, reworking our offers?
Yeah, because once you've
Constantly.
done that like for a long time, you've
Yeah.
solidified something that's just gonna work, right? On kind of like on autopilot almost.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, so when you build that system and that signature solution then becomes key because now you can create the frameworks for other people to deliver it for you, right?
Yeah,
Which gives you freedom, which means you don't have to be the one doing it. But for us and a lot of our clients, when they come to us with their offer, the big thing that we focus on, if you want true freedom, is you focus on lifetime value with a client, right? And that's the thing that we've been really dialing in. I don't want to come and sell 90-day programs and people don't really get results in that time. It takes 90 days just for them to get their head around it.
Yeah.
And then nothing gets implemented.
Yeah.
But now we look at, all right, what does the next 12 months look like? What does the next 24 months? So we're not just taking them from A to B, we're taking them from B to C, C to D, D to E.
Yeah.
But I showed them the entire journey and then say, cool, let's start with this piece and then just continue.
Yeah.
But at least they know where they're going.
And when they start with you, where are they starting initially? Do they have a lead flow? Do they have a source of leads already? Or is this just like an addition?
So both, right? Some people come to us and they're like, I need leads. I've got a LinkedIn profile. People have connected with me. I get all these messages. I just accept them. There's like 3,000 people. I've done nothing with it.
Yeah.
In which case, we put a strategy together. We've got to validate the audience, make sure the message is right, go and tweak and refine, do the market research. Some people have got that dialed in already and they want to add another lead stream or they want to turn up what they're already doing.
Yeah.
So either way is fine. They just start at different stages in the process depending on what they need.
And that's exactly where I wanted to get to because one thing that I love about your process is it's not necessarily like dependent on or where they're at. You can easily plug them in where they need to be at within your process. They don't have to start from initially scratch from the start. And that when you build something like that, you can help people at like completely different levels.
Yeah. We've worked with, the majority of our clients are small business owners.
Yeah.
Right. So they're self-employed or they've got a small team with them. That's the majority of our clientele. We have got a couple of corporate clients that we work with as well, where they'll send me 15, 20 of their salespeople and we'll help them build out a lead generation system for that.
Yeah.
And what we found there, especially taking them through the signature solution, it's interesting. It's very different. It's actually, in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier because they've got everything dialed in and they've got the manpower to go and deliver. So, I mean, we did with the client, they sent me 6 of their salespeople in 6 months working together, did $25 million in sales,
Nice.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was the easiest thing ever. But then when we help them map out that journey, now they can align their team to the processes, to the delivery. Instead of having these silos and these segmented pieces, they can align everyone going in the same direction, which means now you've got the whole company going in the same direction
Yeah.
instead of the business owner who has got shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And what I also like is like your thing, like you said, you can't get results in 90 days. Like some people can, but for the most part, like you want life-changing type of results. Like it's gonna take 6 months to a year.
Yeah,
It just doesn't happen in
totally.
90 days, at least for most people.
Well, I mean, you look at, if you think about the education system, right?
Yeah.
People go and study for 5 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
They get a degree. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a job. There's no guarantee that you're going to make money, but they do it and they incur massive debts because that's the thing that you do, right?
Right.
Or that's the thing they want to do,
Yeah.
whichever way. There's no good or bad about it, right? Different choices. How we do it differently is that, yes, there is an investment. Yes, you're going to commit for a year, but the difference is that you're going to earn while you learn.
Right, right.
Right? And that's where the magic happens. Most of our clients get a 5 to 10 times return on investment within the first 6 months.
Yeah, which is really, really good. And when you have clients or when you have clients that are kind of expecting a return, like the faster that they can get it, obviously, is the better.
Yeah.
Because it's just one of the ways that like this business style works.
Exactly.
Right. Especially for that. So how did you come up with the signature solution? How did it come to fruition? Where it's like I need a 9-step process that's going to take somebody from here to there.
So, I think like we advise our clients is get a mentor, learn from someone. So we've invested over $200,000 in our own education, going through programs, going through courses. The interesting thing is that, some of them do what they say on the box, most don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of getting, pissed off about them not delivering what it is, we said, well, what can we learn from this? And so every single time we learned something, sometimes it was what not to do, and sometimes it was learn what to do.
Yep.
And follow the steps. So throughout that journey, we discovered that 9-step process. We adapted it. We implemented it. We've kind of molded it into our process specifically for our clients. So it just becomes a repeatable process every single time.
Yeah. No, I love that. And talk about that a little bit more, like the systemization portion of it. Because for you guys have leads coming in kind of like on autopilot. You're doing webinars every 2 weeks, every week or 2 weeks. Is it?
So we've moved it to every 2 weeks now. And then we've got a different structure that comes in. We do a lot of content in the other weeks as well.
Yeah. But, this isn't like you guys don't just do it for yourself. Like you said, you do it for a lot of clientele. I mean, I don't even know if I can name some of the people that you've, helped out with. You could tell me if I can or not, but he's a big speaker and stuff like that. But like you help people.
No problem. You can go for it.
Yeah. So like Eli Wild, who I think that's where you met Jake. You guys were in Miami and stuff like that. So like, this stuff works and kind of maximizing your time per hour in a very systemized fashion, I think is where people want to be at because business owners obviously want to make sure that they're systemizing their business.
Yes.
But what I don't think they truly understand is maximizing their time per hour.
100%.
They get stuck doing administrative tasks. They get stuck doing, fulfillment work, or they get stuck doing stuff like that where if they were to focus somewhere else, they would actually move the needle a lot more.
Yeah.
And a lot faster. So touch on that a little bit on how that came to be for you guys and that realization and kind of helping your clients realize that too.
So maybe I can share a case study of a client who I absolutely love
For sure.
because it kind of paints such a beautiful picture. So one of our clients, David, came to us and he's 70 years old. All right.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to work, right? He's made his money. He's got plenty of money in the bank. He actually doesn't need to work, but he wants to work because he's still got a lot of fire left in him.
Yeah.
Right. So he started on this consulting journey, signing up some clients, and they're good sized clients, $20,000, $60,000 clients. And the trap that he ran into was that he was delivering everything himself.
Yep.
Right. So now he's looking around and he's like, I get to a point where I can't take on any more clients because I'm either marketing or selling and I'm delivering.
Yeah.
And so there's this roller coaster that happens all the time. Now, when we built out his signature solution, we then sat down, looked at his offer, designed the business around his life, and we said to him, okay, so we've got these 9 steps that are going down here. have you got people around you, right? Because can we take each one of these steps and create a repeatable process to get a tangible transformation at each one of these steps?
Yeah.
Can we create a repeatable process for this? And he was like, yes, absolutely. And then I said to him, well, okay, so now we've got a repeatable process. Do you have anyone in your network that could deliver that for you? And he was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So now, and the video that I did with him, he said, Matt, the thing that it's done the most for me is given me time.
Right.
Right? Yes, he's making money. He did like $200,000 in 2 months. He's absolutely crushing it. And he's signing up $20,000 to $60,000 clients every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He is crushing it. But it's that time freedom that he loved the most. Because
Yeah.
he didn't want to go at 70 years old being retired and have to go and have a glorified job again. It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, that's super powerful. So for people that are interested, right, they're
Yes.
listening in, they're like, okay, I need this. Number one, I need leads. Number two, I need to systemize my business, and I need to maximize my time per hour. Where can people find you, and how can they work with you?
Amazing. So number one is on LinkedIn, obviously. So the Matt Clark Rainmaker on LinkedIn. Also thevirtualedge.com. And we've got a couple of gifts if people want where they can kind of sample a few things. And that's at rainmakergifts.com.
Perfect. What about your socials? Are you big on them?
Yeah.
Other than LinkedIn?
Facebook, so Matt Clark SA. Instagram, Matt Clark SA. Those are the biggest places where I'm at.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.